Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 6, ECC3204. Today we are going to discuss about tablet computer, and to be specific, we are going to talk about Apple iPad Pro 12.9 and also Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 Plus. So this is our team. Firstly, me myself is Intan Aida Zunaika binti Abdul Aziz 202787. Next is Nurul Nashua binti Abdul Karim 203713. Next one is Abdullah Adli bin Suhaimi 200378. And next is Nur Fahanis Azwa binti Muhammad Fakruzi 203712. And last one is Amirul Hussein bin Muhammad Ansahari 200530. So this is our table of contents. First is concept of tablet computers. Second is properties, which is we will discuss about specification of Apple and Samsung. Next one is advantage and disadvantage of tablet computer. Next is similarities and differences between Apple and Samsung. Next is suggested improvement, and the last one is conclusion. So for concept of tablet computer commonly shortened to tablet. It is a compact device that in many ways function as a mobile computer or laptop. Today, tablets are growing in popularity because of their ease of use, portability, and features. Tablets can be used to browse the internet, check email, read books, play games, and much more. Most tablets are touch-operated and are between the size of a smartphone and a laptop. Generally, the device will come with a built-in keyboard that displays on a screen and a tape feature that changes the orientation of the display depending on how the device is being held. So, continue. Most tablets only have a few physical buttons, the back, power, and volume button. Everything can be done using your fingers. So today, the top two operating system used with tablet is Apple iOS, used with iPad, and Google Android, used with Android tablet. A tablet can have apps installed on it to perform a function. For example, the Safari app on iPad is the browser that allows you to browse the internet, while on Android tablets, the Chrome app is often the default browse.
Okay, now let's move on with the properties, which is specifications of Apple's tablet. So the iPad Pro is using iOS as its operating system with the GPU of Apple GPU that has 8 core and GPU frequency of 3200 MHz. The Apple Pro is using 12.9-inch liquid retina display with the display resolution of 2048 multiplied with 2732. The iPad Pro is using Apple chipset as its processor with the storage of 128GB until 2TB. The front camera of iPad Pro is 12 megapixel and has 3 rear cameras, which is 12 megapixel wide plus 10 megapixel ultra wide and TOF 3D LiDAR scanner. The iPad Pro has 4 speaker audio as its speakers and 5G as its cellular option. And the dimension of iPad Pro is 280.6 multiplied with 214.9 and multiplied with 6.4 millimeter. For the specification of Samsung's tablet, which is Galaxy Tab S7 Plus, the operating system is using Android and Adreno 650 as its GPU. The GPU frequency of Galaxy Tab S7 Plus is 645 MHz with the display 12.4-inch Super AMOLED and display resolution of 2800 multiplied with 1752. The Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 Plus is using Snapdragon 865 and octa-core as its processor, and the storage is 128GB and it is expandable up to 1TB through micro SD. The front camera of Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 Plus is 8 megapixel with 2 rear cameras, which is 13 megapixel and 5 megapixel camera. The Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 Plus also use quad speakers by AKG, Dolby Atmos as its speakers, and the cellular option is LTE. And lastly, the dimension of Galaxy Tab S7 Plus is 185 multiplied with 285 multiplied with 5.7 millimeter.
Okay, so I will continue with the advantages of tablet computer. First, it is portability, which is it typically fall lighter and portable than conventional laptop. Next, it is convenience, which is we can use tablet in any situations. Next, less power hungry, which is tablets consume less power than laptop. Next, input device, which is for tablet we use stylus pen. It is easier than mouse navigation. And lastly, versatility, which is tablet can run Windows operating program system and allow to surf web and send email. Next, the disadvantages of tablet computer, which is the cost is slightly higher than laptop with better specification and less number of ports. Next, input devices, which is the speed of input process much slower than laptops, and thus it is ineffective for the cognition of complex engineering. So I will pass to the next presenter.
Okay, so now let's move to the similarities part. So the similarities between the iPad Pro and Tab 7 S7 Plus can be seen on the CPU in each device. So the first similarities that we have found is both CPU supports the 64 bits. So when both CPU support the 64-bit, it allows more than 4 GB of RAM, it allows to run 64-bit app, and it also increase the performance of the CPU. The next similarities is both CPU have same core, which is 8 core. The more cores a CPU has, the more efficient it is. So when the CPU have a multiple core, it can run multiple apps at once or more resource intensive program. So it can run a larger app with the 64-bit and 8 core. So next, moving on to the differences part. So the first difference that can be clearly seen is in the operating system of both tablets. We know that iPad is an Apple product and use iPad OS as the operating system, while Samsung Tab S7 Plus use the Android. Next, the GPU on the two tablets is also different. This iPad use Apple GPU 8-core, while the S7 Plus Tab use Adreno 650. So next, the GPU frequency for the iPad is 3200 MHz, while the S7 Plus Tab is only 645 MHz. Next, we can see on the chipset where iPad use Apple M1 and S7 Plus use Snapdragon 865 Plus. Next, the CPU frequency for the iPad is 3200 MHz, while the S7 Plus is only 3100 MHz. So M1 Apple chipset is 3% better than Snapdragon 865 Plus in terms of the CPU frequency. After that, we can see the difference in the terms of size of the semiconductor on the iPad, which is the 5 nanometer, which gives high performance and low power consumption. But the semiconductor size on the S7 Plus Tab is about 7 nanometer, which gives low performance and high power consumption to the S7 Plus Tab. A small form factor of Apple M1 allows more transistors to fit on the chip, therefore increasing its performance offer more computational power. So next, we can see on the RAM part, the iPad has 16 GB of RAM, while the S7 Plus Tab has only 8 GB of RAM, so it twice. So larger RAM space translates to more computing power. The computer processes information faster than a device with less RAM, so it gives benefit to the iPad that have a 16 GB of RAM. Next, RAM speed for iPad is 4266 MHz, which is support faster memory and quick performance, while for the Tab S7 Plus is only 2750 MHz, which is less memory performance compared to Apple M1. So next, maximum memory bandwidth is the maximum memory bandwidth is the maximum rate at which data can be read from or stored into a semiconductor memory by processor in gigabyte per second. The more memory bandwidth you have, the better device are. So the maximum memory bandwidth for iPad is 68 gigabyte per second, while the Tab S7 Plus is only 44 GB per second. Lastly, the difference can be seen in the terms of cache. So the iPad Pro have a large cache compared to the Tab S7 Plus. L1 cache for iPad is 44 kilobyte, while the Tab S7 Plus 512 kilobyte. And L2 cache for iPad Pro is 4 megabyte, while the Tab S7 Plus only 1 megabyte. Next, the L3 cache for iPad Pro is very large. It is 12 megabyte, while the Tab S7 Plus only 4 megabyte. So that's all from me for the differences between the iPad Pro and Tab S7 Plus.
For our improvement suggestion part, for Apple iPad Pro 12.9 version, we suggest to improve their connectivity by not only using LTE and Wi-Fi connection. Maybe they can improve by putting a 5G connection to the tablet itself, and they can change their display to a better view, which is using the Super AMOLED LED display like Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 been using. And for Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 improvement, we suggest to increase storage options where they can increase the storage until 1 terabyte. like Apple iPad Pro, they already use it until 1 terabyte. But for Samsung Galaxy Tab, they only use it until 256 gigabyte. So they maybe can increase the storage option. And they also can maybe dedicate or make their own system for Android tablet, like it being used by iPad Pro. They use their own iOS storage, iOS OS system for their iPad, and maybe they're not just use their smartphone screen on top of the tablet to increase the uh, view for their user.
In conclusion, tablets are used by people worldwide for school, work, and can even replace computer as it is almost as powerful and efficient. For this assignment, we have compared two different computer tablets, which are iPad Pro and Galaxy Tab S7 Plus. After doing our research about both of the tablets, it is clear that iPad Pro has higher performance and more efficient when compared to Samsung Tab S7 Plus in terms of CPU. That's all from us. Thank you very much.